friends! I am so geeked up about today's video. So a couple days ago, my sister helped me build myself a new manga shelf because the one I had before it was like awkwardly small and did not hold all of my stuff. Like literally shorter than me. So if you can see behind me, that tall white shelf is my new manga shelf. So I reorganized all my stuff and I just wanted to show you guys everything that I had. So today we're gonna go and give you a little bit of a tour of my manga shelf. And I'm so geeked up. I literally got little Tanjiro sitting on my lap. Like he's gonna help me show off all the things. So we're gonna start on the very bottom shelf because I think the shelves like get cooler as we go up. So we're gonna work our way to the top of my manga shelf. So starting on the bottom, I have this little bridge of mystery bag figures. If you know me at all, you know that I'm a huge sucker for mystery bags, so I have a bunch of different types. I have a lot of Demon Slayer ones, like we got Nezuko, Mitsuri, Iguro, and then we also have a little Gojo at the top, which, by the way, for some reason, every stinking mystery bag I get is always Gojo, and in season 1, I really did not like him. Like, I thought he was a little bit annoying if I'm being honest, so I would be like, I want any character except for Gojo. But then season 2 rolled around and I kind of understood the hype. I'm not even gonna lie, I kind of got it. Anyways, got a little bit off track there. Who else do we have? Oh, we have a little Cardcaptor Sakura one. Over here we have some Kiki's Delivery Service figures, a bunch of little cats, so freaking cute. These come in one big set and I love any Studio Ghibli figures I can get my hands on. On my bottom shelf we also have the funniest thing that is on this shelf, and that is this massive Gon plush. His hair is just ginormous. My friend gave this to me on my birthday and she put it in like a little wine bag because of how tall he is. I also have a little Nezuko acrylic stand from Five Below, and then this really cool Totoro crystal puzzle. I really love these crystal puzzles because they snap together. The pieces snap together so satisfyingly. And I also have this random Draken figure from Tokyo Revengers. So let's take a look at the first series that I have, and that's all my Junji Ito things. So I only have 2 of these so far. I'm not really a big fan of horror unless it is with video games, but there's something about Junji Ito that I really like. Well, I know what it is. It's the art style. Junji Ito art is just literally incredible. He has this really good knack at making my skin crawl without just straight up jump scaring me, especially in Gyo, which was the first one I read. It's so nasty. I had to take a moment and put the book down with some of the panels on this freaking book. Next is kind of a random one. This is Circuit of Freak, and I don't expect literally anybody to know what this is. I read his books when I was really little, all of the Circuit of Freak books, and I loved it. This is my favorite series ever. I was walking around Barnes & Noble's and he's turned it into a manga. I don't even know how that happened. I will say this, when I was little, I tried to watch the Circuit of Freak movie, which had Josh Hutcherson in it, and it freaked me out. I don't think I finished it. So this is round 2 of trying to see this world come to life for me. Next up is Death Note, which I have not completed the collection yet. These 3 were actually given to me all as gifts from various people, and these are the black edition books. So I think they look really nice, and they're kind of omnibus books, so you get a couple volumes in one. I've never met someone who's seen Death Note and not liked it. And then lastly on this shelf is Oyasumi Pun Pun. So this is the first manga series that I ever collected, which that was a crazy thing for me to do. I don't know why I picked this. A lot of the reviews and recommendations that I saw before investing in this series were this is the most heartbreaking manga ever. A lot of people strongly believe that an anime would not do this thing justice, so I thought this is the manga of all mangas. This is the one that I have to read. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not loving it so far. I am in too deep though. I am invested in this series because I just want to see how it ends, because I'm pretty sure the ending is going to be the thing that devastates me. So we're gonna see if this series breaks me. Okay, so moving up to my second shelf, it's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, but it's still kind of miscellaneous. So starting off with the figures, I have this random Mikasa plush that I won from a claw machine, and I also have a little shrine for all of my Kura winnings. If you guys don't know what Kura is, it's a revolving sushi place, and for like the amount of plates you eat, you'll get little prizes. And I have a little story for these two in the back. So I have this Megumi and this Gojo figure because I went to Kura with some of my friends and my sister because they were doing a JJK collab, and I was so geeked up about it. And the little thing that the prize dispenser at the top, ours was broken, so a waitress had to come by with like a box to let us pick our prizes. And she told us that you can kind of choose who you want, since you can tell by those capsules that they're in, those little round things. So I was like, which one do you guys think is Gojo? Because this is by the time season 2 rolled around, and I was a little bit of a Gojo girl. So I was asking that to my sister and her friends, and the waitress, she's like, this one right there. So I picked it up, and sure enough, it was him. Even with the colors, I do not know how she knew that, because there were other prizes besides the figures. So she left, and I was literally taking pictures of the Gojo, like I was having a whole photo shoot. And she comes by later, and she goes, do you like Megumi? And I'm busy snapping my photos, so I don't know what she says. And then she rolls it over to me, and I open it up, and sure enough, it is a Megumi figure. I literally love that waitress. I'm pretty sure she literally went to the back room and was looking through those things to find the figure for me. So bless her, we tipped her good. But anyways, let's start talking about something else because that was such a long ramble. Next to those, I have some Studio Ghibli things. Like I said, I love any Studio Ghibli figures I can get my hands on. And those two came in a mystery bag, and the little paper chute theater was made by my sister, but she didn't want to keep it, so it lives on my shelf now. Next to those, I have this little cute swing set from Daiso. So I have Aki and Power swinging on them, because why would they not? And then one of my first ever figures that I bought, which was kind of expensive, it was a Nendoroid L, and he has this really cool seat that he comes with instead of just like the plain stand, and I gave him a little paper crown on his birthday. I never took it off, so that's his now. In the back, we have some Kaguya-sama figures because that is my favorite freaking rom-com ever, and a little random Tanjiro just laying on his box. Alright, let's talk about the books. These are even more miscellaneous than the figures. So I have 3 different one-shots. I have Go For It Nakamura, The God's Lie, and Sadako at the End of the World. I also have 2 single volumes. One is Pluto and the other one is Kaguya-sama. I bought the Pluto one before it came out with an anime, and then when the anime came out, I figured I might as well just watch that on Netflix instead of reading the series. And Kaguya-sama, I thought they were not gonna make a season 3, so I was like, I need to know how this ends. And I don't know if the entire manga has been adapted or not, but they came out with a new season and I just didn't continue collecting it. The next thing we're going to talk about is Blood on the Tracks, and I actually really did like these first 2 volumes, but the story is a little bit slow, and each of these volumes were $13, which I think is kind of standard for manga now, but back when I was collecting these, manga was like $10 per volume, so I could not get past the $13 and past how long the series was gonna be. I wasn't ready to commit. But let me know if it gets good, and then maybe I will continue reading this. This one is kind of random. It is the first 3 volumes of Attack on Titan, and no, I do not intend on collecting this whole thing. Literally the only reason I bought these was because I found them at Five Below for $5 each, and I figured half off on manga? Okay, like if you insist. And finally, here is my favorite series on this shelf. It is Yotsuba. If you guys don't know what Yotsuba is, it follows this girl, Yotsuba. She moves into a new neighborhood with her dad, and she's basically just making friends with her neighbors and living her fun little child whimsical life. The reason I picked up this series is because I really liked Anya from Spy X Family, and I just wanted a full series with a protagonist that was as cute and as silly as Anya, and this definitely delivered. I really, really like these. I'm gonna retract what I just said like 5 seconds ago. I called it Spy X Family, but this is my Spy Family shelf. I don't know if we say the X or not. This is like the Hunter x Hunter thing with me. This is the only series that has its own dedicated shelf. So we're just gonna go through my little figures really quick. There is a random fruits basket Zen garden here because I had this empty space on the shelf that I wanted to fill, and I think the Zen garden is like really cute and kind of subtle. That's the only non-Spy Family thing that we have on this shelf. And then here are my books. In front of it is just a little keychain. And then over to the figures, I have a bunch of mystery bag figures. For some reason, I end up with Yor a lot in these mystery bags, but I also have this little Anya one. And then down under it is this cute figure of Anya riding Bond. I think it's so silly. I also have a little sleeping Becky who also came from a mystery bag in front of my giant Anya figure that everyone on TikTok seems to love. We kind of breezed past those books, so let's return to those, and I am going to tell you about my favorite manga series. This is actually like my second favorite series. I'm a little bit of a liar, but we're going to talk about my #1 favorite on the next shelf. So Spy Family follows this man right here, Lloyd Forger, trying to carry out a mission to create peace between these two nations, and in order to do that, he needs to create a fake family, which the members are all listed on these spines. We have his daughter Anya, his fake wife Yor, and their lovely dog Bond. This series is really like fun and lighthearted. I love the entire Forger family, especially Anya, like I mentioned earlier, but it still has this interesting plot that does progress throughout the series, so you are invested in it and wondering what's going to happen next, while also just having fun with this little fake family. But I am super duper in love with this series, and my sister, who bought me this first volume, does also read this with me. So that's enough of my little Spy Family spiel. Let's talk about my next shelf. So this next shelf here is all of my favorites. We got my favorite anime, my favorite game, and my favorite manga. First, I think we're gonna address the elephant on the shelf, which is my Haikyuu shrine. Haikyuu was the first anime that I watched to completion. That was what kind of got me into my whole little anime phase. And also a lot of the friends, like my entire friend group that I have today, I low-key met them through Haikyuu because I used to post about Haikyuu on my story when I was first watching it, and one of my friends from middle school responded and they were like, "Hey, do you like Haikyuu? You should meet my other friends who also like Haikyuu." So they put me in this group chat with all of their friends, and we are all best friends to this very day. So that's my little origin story with Haikyuu. Let's talk about the figures now. So I have another Nendoroid. I know I said they're expensive, but I had to splurge a little for my man Tsukishima. He's like part of my brand at this point. And then I also have this little like Ushijima Tsum Tsum looking thing. He's so silly. And then we have a bunch of little Nido Tans over here. And then I have another like Nendoroid case. So the case was like $10, and the Nendoroids come with spare parts, so you kind of just stick one of their faces in there. So of course I had to put Suki in the dino costume. In the back there we have this acrylic stand that my friend bought for me when she went to Japan, which I think is so cool. Lastly, we have another plush, and it is Kageyama in his little crow costume. I also have this art book over here, which I think is really cool. Art books can be kind of expensive, but this one is a lot smaller and compact. It just has a bunch of like the official art in it. I think it is so cool though, and it has some posters and stickers in there, which I will never use because this art book is one of my prized possessions. As for the manga, I'm not gonna lie, I am not completely caught up. I have a couple of the volumes from the beginning and a couple of the volumes from the end, but I have never read Haikyuu all the way throughout. I do want to just collect the entire thing and then binge read the whole thing, which I think is a very big task, but you know, we're growing the collection. We're gonna get there someday. The next thing we're gonna talk about is a manga based on my favorite game ever, and that is Your Turn to Die. So when I said that I only liked horror if it's in game form, this is what I was talking about. I am a huge sucker for horror RPG maker games, and this is by far my favorite. This manga is a manga for fans of the game. If you read this, you will be disappointed. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But the game is incredible. I'm not gonna give you the whole spiel. I think you should go in blind because that's what I did. So it is kind of like a visual novel in the sense that there's a lot of reading, but it is like a click and point puzzle game. So there's some puzzles and some trials, and what you do in these puzzles and in these trials actually affect your game. So right now I think there's like 4 routes in this game in total. And it's not done, by the way, just gonna throw that out there. You can play it for free with the VG person translation, or if you want to support Nankidai, who is the original maker of this game, you can buy it on Steam, but it is not completely done. We're still waiting on the last chapter, and I need it so bad. That's all I'm gonna say. I think you should go play it. So now we are going to talk about my real favorite manga series, which I have not completely read, and it is called Ajin Demi-Human. They made an anime of this. I originally watched the anime, but nobody ever watches the freaking anime because the animation is a little bit ugly. But the story so good. And I think the manga makes up for it because I really do like the manga art style. Basically, it is about this guy. Oh shoot, what's his name? Kei. His name is Kei. It follows this high schooler, Kei, who finds out that he is an Ajin, which is basically a human who cannot die. So if you die, you regenerate, and you also have the power to spawn these little freaky ghost things. And this series is so cool because of like the power system that they have with the Ajins. The villain in this book is so good. He's like an old grandpa man, but his thing is that he really likes video games, and what he really likes to do in this world is that he likes to find exploits. So with those set rules that we know about Ajins, he never really does anything that's groundbreaking that like we never knew Ajins could do before, but instead he uses the things that we do know about Ajin. He uses them in ways that you just wouldn't think of, and I think that is the coolest thing about this series. I also really like the characters. A lot of them like suck, but you cannot help but be invested in them. Like, would I be friends with Kei? No! Do I want to know what is gonna happen to him? Absolutely. I did finish watching the anime, but it kind of goes on a different route than the manga does because I'm pretty sure the anime finished before the manga did. So I actually don't know what's gonna happen after the volumes that I've already read. But I can already tell you that this is my favorite manga. And now on to my final shelf, which is a full shelf dedicated to all my figures because I was a huge figure collector when I first started getting into anime, because this was still the time where anime was like not mainstream yet. Like, you would not get bullied for watching anime, but you wouldn't be finding like freaking figures of Gojo at Ross. So whenever I saw a character that I liked from a show I liked, I was like, I need to cop it immediately. I need to buy that. So that's how I ended up with this shelf. Let's talk about these two in the front here. These two I got from Gachapons. I have this little Itadori and my favorite little Gachapon figure, which is Takemichi from Tokyo Revengers, but in this cute little Coraline doll style. I also have the My Hero Academia x Sanrio collab, which was so cute. And I have Todoroki as Tuxedo Sam. I wish I bought more of these because I don't make them anymore. And then here is the first figure that I ever found in an actual store. It is this really cool Soul Eater one. I never see Soul Eater figures anywhere, and this one is really nice because instead of plastic, it's made of vinyl, which I think just looks and feels really nice. I also have these two model kit figures, kind of like Gundams, but instead of giant robots, they're little anime boys. I think they're so fun to put together. The first one I did was this Deku one. He was really easy to put together. He was like a beginner level. And then I have this Tanjiro one, which had a lot more parts. It was a little bit more complicated, but I think he looks super awesome, and I put that together with my own two hands, guys. And by that, I mean I pieced them together like a freaking Lego. In the back here, we have this really cool Shikamaru figure. I have not finished Naruto Shippuden, but I did watch Naruto Shonen Jump throughout its entirety, and he was my favorite character. So I'm hoping he doesn't fall off in the sequel. Next to him, I have this really cool looking Rei Ayanami figure. I watched Evangelion, and I wasn't like super duper huge on the plot. Like, it was good, but it wasn't like life-changing for me. But the one thing I really liked was the character design and like the aesthetics of the whole show, and Rei was one of my favorites, so I was looking for a figure for her for a super long time, and then my sister bought me one for Christmas, and I think it is so cool. You can kind of like move her limbs around and pose her around. She is beautiful. Thank you, Ate. This next one I also got as a gift from my guy best friend because he had to put up with me through season 2 of JJK, Nanami in 4K. Like, that's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say, and you know what I'm talking about. So I was a little geeked up, dare I say, and then my guy bestie bought me this for Christmas. Shout out to him. Next to him is my absolute favorite character from JJK. It is Maki Zenin. There's no story with this one, I just think she's beautiful. So I said that was our last shelf, but I actually have a few things up on the very top. I have my plushies. I have these two little fruits basket plushies, kind of reminiscent of that Kageyama one from earlier. One is Haru in his little cow costume, and then the second one is Yuki in his little rat costume, and then my best friend has Kyo in his little cat costume. In the middle, we have a Saiki K cat form plush. If you can tell, this was hand crocheted by, again, my lovely sister. And I think he's so silly, and Psyche is one of my favorite shows ever. You can watch it on Netflix, but they don't make any merch for him. I don't know why. Now I can say that I'm the only one with a Psyche cat plush. So basically, I'm the biggest Psyche fan there is. The very last thing is this cool, like, banner on the side. Oddly enough, I got this from a Demon Slayer pop-up in the grocery store. So at Mitsuwa, I happened to like accidentally stumble upon this whole giant Demon Slayer pop-up store, and they had this cute little thing where you got these little pieces of paper and you dip them in the water to figure out what your breathing style is, and I'm pretty sure I was water breathing, that's what they told me. And then you get to pick out one of these banners. So I chose my beautiful Nezuko. So that was my entire manga shelf. I've been collecting like figures and manga for I think like 5 years now, so that is where all of my money has gone for the past 5 years. I don't normally really talk about like anime and manga and video games on my channel, but it is a big part of my interest. So I hope you had fun with me, and if you have any questions about where any of these figures came from, where I buy my manga, or any of the series that I like, let me know in the comments down below. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Follow me on TikTok, by the way, if you are into this stuff, because I post a whole lot of anime stuff on my TikTok. Peace out. I'm pretty sure I already said like and subscribe, so see you next time. Bye!